Hello, Pony. It's Lotus Moon. Now, if you're wondering why I'm on a beach, well, that's because you're inside my dream. Yes, right now I am currently asleep and dreaming of being on a nice warm beach. Like I said, I don't do too well in the cold. I mean, even if summer is extremely hot and I wish winter would come for like one day, once winter comes, I kinda want the summer back. Or heck, even the fall. That weather is a lot more manageable. Anyway, aside from being inside my head, there's something in the real world that I'm quite excited about. It turns out I have finally reached 1,000 subscribers. It feels like only yesterday I was at 1, or even 500. So to see that I finally reached 1,000 was quite a shock. And even the person who became my 1,000 subscribers sent me a comment. Well, it was on Midnight's latest video, and they liked it. The comment came from Kobe Pereda. I do apologize if I'm saying that wrong. And they said, at about 11 p.m. PCT on December 5th, they subscribed and realized that they had helped me to reach 1,000 subscribers. They congratulated me and told me to keep reading because I'm fantastic. I want to thank you for helping me reach 1,000. All of you. Because without you and all of your support, I might have quit this channel a long time ago. But with all the support and critiques I've gotten for all of my readings and anything else I've done so far, I've managed to somewhat improve even a little. And I'm sure that with all of you continuing to support me in the future, I will only get better in time. Enough of patting myself on the back. I can feel myself grinning in my sleep. As promised, this reading is the first reading I'm bringing you since I've been back. And it is the 15th chapter to Fireteam Odium. I feel like I'm getting a little better at keeping up, though I am still quite a ways behind. So hopefully I can catch up soon. With all of you joining me, of course. Without further ado, let's jump right into the reading. Fireteam Odium, written by Atranos the Last. Chapter 15, Training. Many miles from Ponyville, the 5 guardians sat in a larger hall with their pony companions and their new Cabal allies. The war mages took some convincing before they accepted the Cabal into their town, but they eventually allowed them entry. I think at this point we need to figure out how the Primus saw you two so quickly, Curvis said, looking over at Elena and Procor. The Primus is using technology developed by the Flayers to detect sources of light, Naval explained. All Cabal soldiers have this hardware. It is how I got to you so quickly. So they can see us right now? Callus asked. For you three, not as much, but the new sources of light were pure, unlike yours, which has mixed with the energy in the environment. In time, these guardian signatures will dull, but you're all detectable if enough effort is put into it. So, how do we prevent this? If they can detect all of us, they could attack at any time, Curvis questioned, looking around at the hall. The technology detects outward light. If you were to contain it, they wouldn't be able to see it no matter how much they tried, the Cabal said. I see. Then we can reactivate it during combat, Exodus surmised. Correct. You wouldn't be losing your light. You'd be hiding it. But if we contain our light, we won't be able to overflow it, Exodus said. That could cause some pretty serious issues. Then, is there any way to store it? Laval asked. Temporarily, yes. Our armor stores excess light, allowing us to use it in darkness zones. But even with that, they will fill up. Normally, we would then push it into our weapons during combat, or expend it with abilities. The Cabal brought up his hand to his chin in thought, trying to think of a way around the dilemma. After a few moments, he spoke up again. What about the ponies? Curvis gave him a confused look. The ponies? What about them? You're currently using a fusion of their energy and your light, yes? If your bodies are generating light from their energy, then surely you could store your excess light within them. We could, in theory, but how would we know what that may do to them? Exodus asked. Well, since they are able to use this energy, I would assume that the effects they would gain would depend on the type of light they receive. And this is all fine to talk about, guys, but in the end, we still have a problem. What pony would actually offer to receive this? Callus pointed out. I don't know, Curvis sighed. We would have to speak with... I'll do it. All eyes turned to face the blue pony that had spoken. Chrome had already stood and was walking over to the sides of the Guardians, a confident look in his eyes. I enlisted to protect ponies, but I currently don't have the ability to do that on a scale we're looking at. If this energy will make me stronger, I'd be happy to take it. Chrome, we have no idea what it might do to you, Exodus said. If something goes wrong, like your body refusing it, it could hurt you. If I die, it will be for my kind. I'll not stand idly by while these monsters kill everyone I know and love. Exodus looked at the pony, looking him over, searching for any signs of fear or change of heart. When none could be found, he shook his head slightly. You really want this? He asked. I do. All right, I'll try it, but you need to do exactly as I say, okay? Chrome gave a nod and stood tall, looking up at the warlock. Slowly, the Guardian approached him and turned to his ghost. Can you shift some light ready to rest him? Just in case? No promises. But I'll do my best, the ghost replied. Good enough. Here goes. With that, the Exo began channeling some light stored in his armor into his hand. The light quickly formed into a ball, streaks flying around it as it tried to find its place in the new environment. Giving one last look at Chrome, he pushed the light forward towards the unicorn, the energy detecting the pony almost immediately. It jolted up at Exodus's hand and found its way to the pony's horn, covering it before dissipating. Other than cringing at the new feeling, he didn't seem to be in pain. So the warlock backed up, hoping all went well. So, how do you feel? The XL asked. Not bad, really. Was something supposed to... Before he could finish, he bowed his head and brought a hoof up to it. A groan of pain was all he managed to say before the guardians moved forward to help him. Chrome, are you okay? Callus said, poking his shoulder. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Just a huge headache. That's because of the amount I gave you, Exodus commented, stepping forward. I can only guess that your body is trying to figure out what the new energy is. But since you didn't blow up or anything, I think you'll be fine. Gee, thanks, the unicorn muttered, looking up once more towards Exodus. Ghost, can you do a scan? We don't want his body to reject it, Exodus said to his ghost. No problem. Just hold still. The ghost projected a light blue glow from his eyes when he had moved closer, the glow easily covering the small pony. After a few seconds of this, the little machine pulled back beside Exodus. His body is resonating with solar energy, the stuff you gave him. After a few minutes, the pain should go away, and you will begin to notice the effects, the ghost said, his segment spinning slightly. What sort of effects will this solar energy give me? Chrome asked the little machine. Well, with solar light, you will gain a faster replenishment of your personal energy, as well as increased agility. Of course, it may vary as I'm only guessing with the knowledge I have of Exodus's abilities to work alongside solar light. The unicorn smiled slightly at the thought, lighting up his magic and creating a barrier before him. It shimmered brightly, but it didn't look different in his eyes. I thought it was supposed to work with my magic, he asked, lowering his shield. That's what it's called? Callus said. She had been sitting beside Curvis when the pony had confirmed that he was fine. It doesn't matter what it's called. What matters is that this confirms something I had already assumed. You have the new magic within you, but you lack the ability or knowledge to use any of it, Exodus said. So I'm going to have to train before I can make use of it? Chrome asked, finally managed to stand fully again. Yes. We all had to in order to use our light, so you will have to as well. And this training will let me use the full abilities of this energy. Unlikely. I gave you the minimal amount of light, just enough to make sure you wouldn't be hurt by it, and you could barely take it all. We were lucky your body adapted to it so quickly. As if it took longer, it might have been far more painful. So, what will I be able to do? The pony asked, sitting down. You should have access to a couple of things, and then you can train to become better at those things. With a Warlock Solar Light, you will be able to generate and regenerate your own energy far faster, or resurrect yourself from death. It will be incredibly unlikely that you will be able to do both without heavy training and a ghost by your side. But training is one of the factors. But training one of those factors, at the very least, could give you an advantage against any hostile cabal. Chrome nodded slightly in thought. That could be amazingly useful if multiple ponies had the ability to use your energies. Do you think the War Mages would be alright with taking some of it to use in battle? I would prefer to make sure ponies can even use it to begin with, Exodus replied. When you have trained enough to be able to use some of the light as a weapon, I'll think on it. This is new, even us. So we will have to learn about it together. I understand. One last question, if you don't mind? Go ahead, Exodus said, taking his seat with the other guardians. If you're trying to hide your light, wouldn't giving it to other ponies just behave like your light? Can the Cabal still track it, even if we are the ones using it? And this time, the nearby Val responded to the question. While I don't have the full capabilities of this technology, I am aware that pony magic is cast differently depending on many factors. It is likely that your magic will lace itself with the light in such a way to conceal it alongside the energy around us. Chrome gave a short glance over at the Val while he spoke, but looked down at the floor when he had finished. I'm still not completely comfortable knowing how you got that information, he said. These are Primus's plans, not mine. I do not agree with what he did, but I can understand it. He is desperate, and he won't stop until he gets to go home. The pony gave a sigh and nodded, looking over at Exodus. So, you want to begin his training? Better to do it sooner than later. Let's head into the nearby fields. Less ponies to see us there. With the duo leaving the building to start training, the others started to pack up their belongings, each of them moving out of the door one at a time. Looking around, Callus spotted the war mage from Ponyville that got them to their town and walked up to him. A short talk later had the Cabal soldiers teleporting back to their town. Curvis? Callus called out when the new allies had disappeared. Yeah, what's up? He replied, turning to look at his teammate. I know Exodus is trying to help, but I'm not too sure I can agree with the whole giving light to the ponies. What if a pony gets it and decides it would be better to use it against us? Or against other ponies? I can't possibly think that every one of these ponies is nice. Right now, we don't have a choice. I doubt the mages would last 1 minute against a Cabal force without aid. And we can't keep defending every single pony that comes into danger. We need to gain the upper hand. And this is the only way we have. If you can come up with something, we'll gladly hear you out. But until then, we need to trust Exodus. Yeah, I guess. Curvis gave the hunter a smile, patting her shoulder. Come on. Procor and Elena are waiting for us. How about we head to the bar? You sure know how to make a lady smile. So, how do we begin? asked Chrome. They had been walking for a good 10 minutes, and now the town was a long way from them. The gentle glow of the street lamps illuminated the dark sky, bathing the houses in a warm yellow light. First, we do what every guardian has to do. Reach out into yourself and feel for the light. You need to connect with it. Force it to bend to your will. Only when the light obeys can you wield it, Exodus explained, shrouding his hands in fire as a sort of example. Finding the new light wasn't all that difficult for the experienced unicorn, as all young ponies had to do something similar when they were trying to find their talent. Poking around in his magical reserves revealed the light he was looking for, but he was unable to touch it. It almost felt like the light was resisting his mind. Having trouble? The XL asked. I can't go anywhere near it. Whenever I try to bring it up to my horn, it shies back into my reserves. Chrome grunted, trying again with more force. Light isn't just some material, Chrome. This energy is what keeps us alive. And it is what chose us in the first place. As it doesn't belong to you, it is trying to resist being used. In order to make it of use, you need to show it you're in charge. Easier said than done. It is, but it can be done. Instead of trying to force it, coax it out. Mix your own magic with the light. Show it your power, and let the light decide what it wants to do. Doing as he was told, instead of trying to force it, he allowed his magic to fill the ball of light. He could feel its energy diluting, shifting around his body as it gained free rein to move around his being. Eventually, it began shifting itself upward towards its head, ending up storing itself near his horn. That worked? He asked in shock. When you stop thinking of the light as material, a thing just to be used, you will begin to see why training is so necessary while you use it. While you must learn to use it, the light must also gain its strength to bolster itself. In a way, you're both training together. Okay, but how do I make use of it? I can feel it at the top of my head, but I can't access it like my other magic. Simple. Will it to do something. Ask of the light something you want it to do, and it'll obey. Grunting, the pony thought hard to command the new magic to do something. He eventually settled with asking for an energy ball, the simplest of spells to cast. When he opened his eyes, he found a small ball radiating with an intense heat. The ball had fire spinning around it, though the embers that didn't hit him didn't harm him. Solar light isn't made for damage. While Titans are able to use it to kill quickly, their use of it is very brief. If you ration it out, use it tactically, you can make this light last for days, sometimes even weeks. Warlocks use this in combat to gain an almost infinite amount of grenades for sometimes up to 30 seconds. Why don't you give it a try? Shrugging, he tried to picture a grenade he had seen Exodus throw in the past. And within a few seconds, The small ball morphed into a large orb, the solar light now bursting out of it as it hovered. And now, projected forwards, the warlock beside him said, not wanting to use too much of the light he had been given, he threw the orb away from him using his own magic. The orb veered to the right as it soared through the air. When it hit the ground, a ring of fire shot out of it, but other than that, nothing happened. That's it? He questioned, looking at the charred ring on the ground. The light will try to form what it knows best. That was something we call a firebolt grenade. Something that doesn't fully work unless it has targets within that ring. But what does it do in the way of harming something? The pony inquired, still looking at the ring. Anything within that ring will be struck by a column of fire, hot enough to melt through armor. Each grenade can target up to 2 hostiles at a time, and it is often useful for removing stronger enemies from battle. But you said it can make infinite grenades. Can I do that? I don't see why not. Though trying to keep it limited. We don't know how long the light will last. Reaching into the pool of light that was still stored near his horn, he commanded as many grenades as he could. Within a few seconds, a ring of fireball grenades surrounded him, their heat and light radiating almost like the sun itself. Good job. Seems like you won't have too many issues summoning them during combat, though we still need to work on one more thing. Chrome gave a look to the Guardian. What would that be? Exodus raised his hand to point at the charred ring, far to the right of the pony. Your aim. When morning came around, Chrome was panting with exhaustion. His training had lasted all through the night and had him constantly moving. While he absolutely hated the warlock for putting him through that, he could understand the benefit of it. He was now able to land grenades on targets while moving. The firebolt's ring easily make up for the near misses. I think you should go back home and lie down. You did well tonight, Chrome. We'll make a guardian out of you yet, Exodus said, patting him on the back. Yeah. Thanks. The unicorn managed to get out between breaths. He was about to leave for the town when he was stopped by the warlock once again. Before you go, I'd like to give you a gift, Exodus said. Oh? You see, it is customary for a new guardian to be given a set of armor. I've been speaking with my ghost while you were training, and the surrounding area has enough material to synthesize a suit of armor for you. You don't need to do that, Exodus. I have my own armor that I received when I joined the army, which I'm honestly a little attached to, Chrome explained with a smile. If you want to use this light effectively, then you need a way to store it. Guardian armor stores light automatically, and the suit my ghost can generate for you will be able to slowly regenerate your light reserves. This is still far slower than what we are capable of doing, but it will mean that you won't have to take light from us all the time in order to train. But what about the other mages? I've already thought about that, Exodus replied. My ghosts will create 2 sets, one for you and another for your cousin. You made her out to be a clothes designer. I guess for the mages? Yes, she is. But you would still do that for her, even after what happened earlier? What happened was an accident. I already spoken with Callus about her actions. What I'm doing here is to help every mage in the town. Though, if your cousin gains something from it, then I'm happy to help her too. I see. Thank you, Chrome said, his smile unfading. He waited patiently as the warlock's ghost gathered resources from around them, ores from the ground, organic matter from the trees nearby, and turned it into simple white and gray armor that lay in two neat piles, an equine version of basic guardian armor. The one on the left is yours, the ghost said, floating up near Exodus once more. If the size is incorrect, I apologize. I made the best guess I could. The unicorn picked up both piles in his magic, being sure to note the one made for him. Thanks again, guys. Means a lot that you both are willing to help us so much. It's what we're here for. Now you go rest. You'll need it if you want to train more. As the pony walked towards the town, the guardian turned his head to look at his ghost. Could you drop the ship down from orbit? I have a cabal I would like to speak with. Elena rose from her bed in a daze. Looking around her, multiple bunk beds surrounded her little bed. Some of them occupied by ponies, but the majority of them were empty. As quietly as she could, she slipped into her armor and stepped out of the building, into the cool outdoors. A light brushed past her face as she closed her eyes, filling herself with the early morning smell of open fields and pastries from the nearby shops. Hey, you're up early. Her eyes darted to the left to find Callus polishing her sniper, the black and white glow still crossing it as if the weapon was made from an ethereal substance. She was sat at an outdoor table with a large umbrella shading it from the rising sun. Yeah, I don't really get much sleep these days. I wish I knew how that felt. Want to join me? Been bored since Exodus left with Chrome to help him learn how to use light. Elena gave her fellow hunter a nod and sat down at the table with her. Her gaze rested upon the long rifle that Callus loved so much. You like her? Callus asked, a happy tone in her voice. It's such an odd design, the human commented, leaning over to take a closer look at the glow that covered its skin. Don't feel like you can't touch it. As long as you don't break it. You are more than welcome to give it a spin. Giving a thankful look at the exo, she took hold of the rifle and stood up, taking aim at a distant tree across the plains. The weapon was incredibly heavy, but she was just able to lift it into a semi-stable aim. You're not gonna hit anything with that posture. Here, Callus said, standing and joining her. She stepped beside the new hunter and moved Elena's limbs for her to take a more stable stance. Is this really necessary? Elena asked, a little uncomfortable with the sudden attention from the veteran hunter. You think this is weird? Try having Curvis teach you this stuff. He's far less relaxed when it comes to this. I get that, but why do I need to stand like this? I never see you standing like this when you fire it. I'm an exo, remember? We are far stronger physically than humans. This position will allow you to take the recoil of the gun that will throw you. And it's necessary for bigger guns. Please, I might be new, but I'm not weak, Elena scoffed, standing normally once more. Callus gave an amused snort. Then go ahead. I'm sure your strength will come in handy. The human gave a short grunt before raising the sniper once more and taking aim at the tree in the distance. When she was confident in her aim, she pulled the trigger, but instead of a gentle nudge she was anticipating, the weapon slammed back into her shoulder, knocking her onto the ground. What was that? She groaned, raising her head slightly. That was a high-caliber weapon throwing you onto your ass because you didn't listen, Callus said, offering her a hand up. Taking the offered hand, she rose up and looked at the rifle again. After a short look, she handed it back to the exo. I think I'm gonna need to practice with something a little less powerful. If you want to deal damage to something like a cabal, you can't bring up those pansy-ass weapons the Vanguard give. I can get you something starting with a lower caliber, though, Callus said, summoning her ghost. You need anything? The ghost asked when he had become visible. Yeah, a Devil's Dawn. Any element? No problem. The ghost became invisible once more, and on a table, a new sniper lay on its side. It was a white rifle, a fallen design, with a thin barrel. The well-known Siva emblem crudely drawn in red upon its side. Here, try this thing out. It's known for being one of the best snipers you can get, Callus explained, handing her the new rifle. The young hunter looked at the weapon in surprise. Thanks, but you really don't have to. Elena, you are a hunter. While we can use any weapon, we tend to excel with snipers because of our fast movement and stealth. If you want to do well during fights, you're going to have to accept the help from other guardians. And this is your opportunity to accept it. With a short sigh, she reached over and took the weapon, holding it in her hands. It was much lighter than Callus's rifle, though she could tell this weapon was far stronger than the weapons she had been given by the Vanguard. Thanks, Callus. Anytime, kid. If you need anything else, feel free to ask, the Exo said, taking a seat once more. Actually, I could do with some help learning how this thing works. Callus gave a smile to the human. I think I can help with that. And that was chapter 15 to Fireteam Odium, written by Atranos the Last. I do apologize for any mistakes I made, but I guess I'm pretty excited. One, because I reached 1,000 subscribers, and two, well, because it's the first time I'm doing a reading from a dreamscape. It's a new experience, and honestly, I didn't think I'd be able to. Once I wake up, it's back off to the cold. Something I gotta accept. I'm just kinda happy Princess Luna didn't barge in. Anyway, Airy Pony, I do hope you enjoyed the reading. And once again, thank you all for your support. Without you, I wouldn't be here now. And I guess the next milestone that I'll really be excited for Mm, maybe, I don't know, 2050 subs? Yeah, maybe that's a good spot to celebrate again. Anyway, eventually I do plan to do something special for this very particular milestone. I don't know what yet. Maybe a live reading, maybe another Q&A. I don't know. But whatever it is, I do hope all of you enjoy it. Everybody, I am Lotus Moon, and I want to wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night wherever you are. Good night.